Hi there, Lisa Oliver, author here. And about a week or so ago, I put out a video on the 5 most asked questions I get about writing a book. And one of the things I discussed was the concept of not having enough time. A couple of messages sent to me privately suggested that maybe I was a little bit harsh on people who do have a lot of commitments. So today we're going to talk about how you can fit your book writing into all the other commitments you have in your life on the day-to-day. So if you're interested in finding time, genuinely finding time to carve out a space so you can become an author, then carry on listening or watching this video. As I mentioned before, my name's Lisa Oliver. I'm a self-published author, which means that I promote my books through KDP. I write them myself. I do all my covers. I do everything myself, including the marketing. And I have made a very comfortable income for doing that over the last 8 years. So I absolutely love what I do. And my only wish is that more authors could do this. I have a lot of friends who are authors too, all over the world, and they quietly sit there every day and they plot out their stories and tappy away, and they put them up on Amazon and they sell them and make enough money to live. Being able to work at home in your pajamas is a really, really neat thing to do. And because of the pandemic and everything else that's going on, more and more people are looking at, well, why don't I take that time off and write that book? And for some of them, they might even be financial enough to do that. But for most of you listening to me, there's going to be so many other demands on your time and your finances. That means that you might have to juggle a job, maybe study, schooling, children, marriage, caring for other, maybe caring for your parents or caring for other family members. Whatever it is, it seems that not having enough time is one of the biggest barriers to writing your own book. Now, in my other video, I had said that basically if you don't have the time, then don't write the book. And apparently that was a little harsh, but there was an element of truth in that. We all do have 24 hours in a day. We all, make the best of them as best we can. There's a certain number of hours we need to sleep. There's a certain number of hours that some of you need to work or whatever else. And that's understandable. But writing doesn't have to be a sit down and, stare at your computer for 4 hours. I mean, I do, but I'm no longer married. My children are grown. I support myself with my writing, so I don't need to go out and have a job. In fact, my kids can call me a hermit, and they could be right, because I actually don't like going out very often. I like being at home, creating my worlds and stories. I mean, that's part of the fun for me. But for the rest of you, if you have jobs, children, they're very demanding. I remember that. All sorts of commitments. It is a case of looking at your priorities. So maybe look at, before you write off the idea of being a writer altogether, how about the first thing you do is sort of nut out roughly, what do you do in a day? Like, okay, I will give you an example, but mine's going to be nothing like yours because I work from home, okay? So I will get up roughly about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, because that just works with my biorhythms, or whatever you want to call it. I will get up, I'll make myself a cup of tea, I will sit and read I read and watch the breakfast show, which is very common here in New Zealand, for about 2 hours. But usually I am on my computer between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. Then I will go through all my emails, I'll go through all my social media, I will go through all my bank accounts and my sales pages and everything else, and check that everything's where it should be and everything's doing what it should be doing. And then by about lunchtime, I think, oh, it's lunch. So I'll stop and have lunch. And then I will watch some YouTube videos while I'm having lunch, because I also have an Etsy store and I'm also keen on learning how to do better with this YouTubing. So I watch videos for people who are successes in those areas. And then it can sometimes be 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'll suddenly think, okay, well, my book isn't going to write itself, so I'll sit down and write. And then I will probably write through till 6 or 7 o'clock at night, depending on what I'm doing. And I've usually got 2 or 3 books on the go at a time. I will stop and have a meal if I think about it. And then if there's one of my storylines that's still nagging my head, I sometimes can sit up and write till 10 o'clock or something, 11, 12. 1, 2, whatever, I'll just keep writing until that scene's done, and then I go to bed. So I can hear you. I can actually hear it, because my daughter, my wonderful daughter, is an extremely hectic person who works as a registered nurse. She also runs Publication Pixie, which is the one of the companies that does my editing and my promoting for me. And she also has 4 children and a husband, and external, extended family members who like seeing her because she's a friendly person. So for her to find time in a day to write a book would be really difficult. But she did write, I think it was 35,000 word novella in 3 weeks. But what she did was, she didn't think to herself, oh, I'm going to write at 1 o'clock on Friday or anything else like that. What she did was, she didn't get up earlier because her kids are up early anyway, so there was no point in her getting up earlier. But she did take her laptop to work, so that when she was working, she she had a downtime between patients, or she had her lunch breaks and things like that. She would write. She would come home. She'd spend time with her kids. She would, one of her children, my older grandson, Malachi, he's getting to the point where he can now cook dinner with a bit of supervision, so Holly could write then. She learnt to write around the noise that comes from having a household with 4 children and a dog, and I think she might even have a cat too, who knows. And then hubby would come home and he takes over, and then she would write a bit at night. The thing that really interested me, because when, I've got to admit, when she first came to me and said, oh, I want to write a book, Mum, I was like, yeah. And where do you think you're going to fit that in? Because she is like so many of you. She is busy all the time. But what kept her going, and that's why I wanted to make this video and why I felt I probably could. You can thank my daughter Holly for this one. What kept her going was that she really, really loved her characters. She really loved her story. She was excited about it. So when she was taking her kids to school or making lunches or doing whatever it is that she was doing in a day, she was thinking about her story and she was excited about it. So any time she had a spare 5 minutes or 10 minutes here or a bit of a break here and there, she would pull out the old laptop and she'd keep writing. She had the Word app on her phone. And I know that, okay, I can't do it because I've got arthritis. But I have watched some pretty fast thumb thingies going on the younger people on their phones. Well, you can get Word on your phone. So you could be writing any spare minute you had, in between customers, in between clients, in between appointments. If I've got to admit, I planned this video with the idea of talking to you about time management, blocking out little bits of time where you can write a book. But I think Holly's story kind of brought home to me that if you really, really want to do something, you will find the time, because everybody in existence deserves the time to have some joy for themselves. And for Holly, for during that time that she was writing that book, it brought her joy. So if you think it'll do the same to you, then you will find the time. You will snatch those minutes in the morning while the kids are squabbling about where their shoes are. You will, you sort of say, oh, no, not today, thank you, when your co-workers ask you if you want to meet them for lunch, because you'll dive out round the back somewhere and you'll be tippy-tapping on your phone or your tablet or your laptop or whatever. If you have a significant other, how about asking them, hey, look, this is really important to me. Would you mind putting the kids to bed at night so that I get an hour or whatever to write then? Maybe you could have, if you have a significant other, you could ask them if they could take the children for half a day on a weekend. Just take them to a park or to the zoo or wherever it is that, I'm sorry, because my children have been long grown a long time, so I don't know how parents amuse their children on a Saturday afternoon. Maybe they have sports days or something. But do you have to go? Or could your significant other do it so that you had a bit of time, just that once a week? See, that's the other thing. It doesn't have to be every day. Okay, it has to be what works for you. So if all you get is 2 hours between 3 and 5 on a Saturday afternoon, then take it and write it and enjoy the fart out of it, because that will keep you going all week till the next weekend and the next and the next. And if you can write 100 words every time, you're 100 words closer to finishing your book. So instead of looking as time as being one of those barriers towards you writing and finishing a book, look at time as being one of those fluid, manageable things where you can shove things apart and make little gaps, whether it be 5 minutes here or 2 hours on a Sunday. You don't have to write every day, so long as that every time you do write, you write with the same passion and excitement that had you wanting to do this in the first place. And if you need any help at all on how you can manage your time, if you're listening to me and you're thinking, but you just don't understand, then fine. Email me, PM me, DM me, get in touch with me. Put it in the comment below. Tell me why it is in 24 hours of a day, 7 days a week, you don't have 1 hour to write a book. And I'll try and help you as best I can. Sometimes an outsider looking in at your situation can make the world of difference. I want you to succeed at this. That's why I'm muddling my way through this YouTube channel. I have lived my most excellent life for 8 years, writing my stories, living on the income, and feeling so darn proud of myself for what I do. I want that for you. So please don't tell me that you haven't got the time to write your book. If you're really stuck on how to find that time, then comment below or get in touch and I'll help you find it so that you can get your book finished. And on that note, the wonderful JP Sale and I have completed our book, second book in the Tangled Tentacle series, which was Victor. And that is up on pre-order, and you can find that on Amazon now. That will be released on April the 22nd. And my Balance Book 5, which is my Angel and Demon series, that is called, what did I call that one? I called that Demon Masks and Angel Wings. And that will be out That should be coming out. I think it'll be not this Friday, but next. So keep an eye out for that on Amazon as well. I'll have a link for it. I'll post a link below when I've got one for it. But otherwise, hug the ones you love, my friends. Stay safe and keep writing every single minute you can. Bye.